Okay. Hello.
Are we
Good
on?
afternoon. Yeah, we're on. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning. Whatever you are listening to us or watching us. More watching than listening. Oh, I'm gonna try. Well, I'm gonna try. The thing is that I try to upload it to iTunes and they charge you if you want to have like a
Yeah,
podcast there
in iTunes there's a charge.
once a
You can
year.
you can technically get you can technically transform this into just a sound file.
Yeah, I have it there.
Oh, then you can put it on like what's the name of that thing?
There's
Uh,
one teacher or something. I remember, not back in the day.
yeah, yeah. Treacher? I don't remember. Stretcher,
I don't
something like
worry.
that.
When I get paid next this week, I have the money, so it's not like it's gonna break the bank, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
there because in Spanish normally it's iBox, the one that a lot of most people use in Spain.
Hmm.
So that's already uploaded like a couple of programs, but I want to also put it in iTunes and a couple of so also it's also MP3 in case people want to listen to it.
Oh man.
Uh, oh, by the way, the guy that I told you last week, a couple of days ago, that died, didn't die. It was one of those hoax.
Hoaxes. Yeah.
Yeah, James Hong is the name, and
James
because he
Hong.
appeared several places that he had died. Because I remember it because I went to see. I told you I went to see yesterday with the
Oh,
missing
yeah, 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 yeah.
everywhere, everything all at once, everything
Everyone is
everywhere all
always
at once.
everyone's always saying that old people like are dying all the time.
Yeah, but
Um,
here normally doesn't happen.
I think
There's
that
never. Yeah,
go
sorry.
ahead. Huh? He was born in Minneapolis, and like he studied civil engineering.
Oh, really? I thought it was like from Hong Kong.
I am in his thing. James Hong,
No,
American actor, producer, and
didn't say that.
director. He was worked on numerous productions in America since 1950s, portraying variety roles, with more than 650 video and TV credits as
Yeah,
of 2001.
yeah. He's the guy from the Gremlins. I remember that's like the first time I remember seeing him back in the 80s when I was a
Okay,
little kid. He's the guy from the store
okay.
that comes to
Um,
pick it up at the end of the movie.
he became starring in a detective series called The New Adventures of Charlie Chan. Wow. In 1957 to 1958, and he was in Hawaii Five O, Bonanza, Perry Mason, The Man from Uncle, I Spy, Kung Fu.
Yeah,
Stan,
he has done some done lately the Kung Fu Panda. I think is one of the voices too.
yeah. Well, he has a starring role in as an Asian man of Asian descent in the States in 1957. That's a long ass time.
Sonia is back! Yay!
Able to hear me.
Now
Yes.
you can hear you. Yes.
Yes. I actually switched to my desktop. I don't know what permissions I didn't click but whatever. I'm not fighting with it this late at night. That's not happening.
No
I'm on my
worries. No
desktop
worries.
now.
No fighting. No fighting. It's a lot of fighting already going on in the world. So more. I don't think it's gonna solve anything. Cool. Well, I see that summer hit the German states.
Yes. Does it give my location?
No, but I know you live in Germany, and I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that you have like short sleeve t-shirts. So I say, okay, it's gotta be hot.
Yeah, it's been kind of warm the last couple days. It's not been. It's
Lucky
been
you.
we've had some thunderstorms and then it's cooled down a little bit. But yeah, it's like t-shirt weather. I was out today in a t-shirt. It's nice.
What's that t-shirt weather? I don't never heard that expression before.
T-shirt weather?
Ah, t-shirt. I would say teacher wear.
T-shirt.
Okay, okay, got it, got it, got it.
T-shirt or like sweater weather.
Yeah. Got it. Now I got it. So my bad.
It's all right.
So we were talking about the thing of we started this on the Spanish one, and we're gonna try to implemented here to have a little bit of structure on the stream. And the idea is to have the first section is to have a little bit of news that are relevant, interesting to us, that we care about. It's our field, entertainment, and creativity and creation, stuff like that. And then to have like a topic, second part, and from there on and on about it. So for the news, we had Vangelis. What else we had? Remember, Eric? It was Vangelis, the death of the very important musician, very famous.
Yes. We also debunked that James Hong is not dead, and
Exactly.
we were talking about him.
He's old, but still alive.
Yeah. What else did we talk about?
Oh, we talked about the Chicken Dale one that you mentioned, the rescuers.
Yeah, the Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me continue with James Hunt because I am reading here, and it's kind of ridiculous. Like,
no, the guy has like 200 screen credits, something like that. Like,
yeah, no, like I was saying, like he made Charlie Chan in '57. That's a big deal, even if it's like for 1.5 seasons. You know? And let me see what else.
50s to work. My God. Yeah.
57. Yeah, no, like, well, not only that, like, the States usually has a problem with not this, it does and it doesn't, with Asian people, you know.
No, they had historically, yes, for sure.
And anyway, so his
they were
father,
like banned, I remember back in the 40s or something like that, or in the 50s.
Well, that was people bitch about it, but that was a rules of engagement at the moment, which actually most countries have had at that time.
I don't know. I never heard that before anywhere else.
The rules of engagement, rules of engagement say that you have to, back in the day, that you had to round up all people from the country you're at war and like put them in
but
one place.
they were not from there. That's the whole thing. This is where people born in the States.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, even that in rules of engagement, they also
didn't matter. We still had camps.
In rules of engagement, also says that if you have people that are the descendants of the other people, they should be.
People look Asian, so put them in cages. Fuck that.
Yeah, do you have to run about the
they did the same thing to my ancestors, to the Mennonites, because they were Germans.
Okay.
They also had camps.
Yeah. It's like, oof,
I remember that there was when I was a kid, there was a Condorito. There was a Condorito joke story about rules of engagement, in which Condorito literally like rounds everyone up. And then he goes like, he calls the general. He goes like, "So who are we in war with? Because I just rounded up everyone." And so you know how awful their jokes are. But that was the story.
Yeah. Sonia, because probably nobody knows what we're talking about.
Condorito is originally a Peruvian, Chilean
Chilean
comic,
right?
Yeah, and then later on became Mexican and Colombian.
I think I've heard the name.
Yeah,
he's like a
condor,
a rooster. No, a condor. Okay, right.
He's a condor. That's why it's called Condorito. Yeah, and that's why it's Chilean, Peruvian.
So like from like the Andes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like so when in the 70s, 80s, and beginning of the 90s, it was very South American. The editorial closed, and they started producing what's another thing? Editorial Cinco in Mexico. Yeah. And
back in the day, it was huge in the Latin community.
Oh yeah, and the comics, the stories were like a page long. Literally, they were just one page. Yeah. Sometimes it was like 2 pages, and those were like the epics. But it was an exercise. It was an exercise on really good storytelling. And there was no real story set. Like they changed the story like constantly.
And they were kind of
Um,
jokes all the time. It's about
yeah, it was like basically everyone said a really bad joke at the end. Like it
yeah.
was that every single time. Like the whole thing was that it was bad jokes.
Yeah, but highly popular with kids.
Okay.
Oh yeah, kids and everyone.
Yeah,
And they had a ton of characters. Um,
I don't remember
Anywho,
this because I was very, very young when that shit was popular. I just remember Condorito, that, and I think there was he has like a kid. That's the only character
has a
that.
nephew. Has a nephew. His name is Kone. It's funny. I have like 200 comics of Condorito, like right there,
Oh, okay.
like 5 feet from
Cool.
me.
Okay,
Not
show
even
it, show it,
joking.
show it. So Sonia know what we're talking about.
Give me a second. Let me go get it.
And you draw something, darling.
I'm guttering.
Okay, I don't
Which
see it.
camera am I
Okay.
looking at?
Ah, okay. So you have storyboard. Okay.
No, it's the page. It's the full page. Yeah. These are the
Oh,
sketches.
so already a page. Okay.
Yeah, it's already a page.
Nice. You were able to get the second camera or
No, it has not happened yet. I was just
Okay.
way too busy this
No
last
worries.
week. It just has
Because I
not been
see
time
the
to sit
art
and
that
order that.
art fantastic that you
I
have.
think I need the link from you again.
Okay.
I think I
no
might need
worries.
that. I've
I'll
just
send it to
been
you.
busy, very busy.
I
But
can't-
Thursday I have off.
Good.
So here it is. Let me check.
Condorito.
Oh my
It's
god,
like
yes.
little condor. That will be the translation.
Yeah.
One translated. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me see. Here's the
Yeah,
comic.
that's the guy. You see,
Yeah.
it's like a condor and the red thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, like the beak. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You see, he has like some kind of like
The crest.
hair
The
piece
crest.
or something.
Yeah,
The
the crest. Yeah, okay.
So it has like every single country that it sells and the price in each country, like Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, like
Yeah,
in their whatever's.
There we go.
was huge in Latin
Oh,
America.
Yeah,
Now you
Puerto
can
Rico.
see how messy my floor is. Uh-oh.
And so let me see. Yeah, this one was in year 1987. This is from 1987. That was Editorial America. So
Okay.
here's a like one page, like in which he's like a cowboy, and then it always ends with like people like falling back. Like, hold on a second. There's like half page story, and they're super heavy on the words. Oh, here. Let me see what else.
That's pretty cool. I have fond memories of that. It was Condorito, Mafalda, of course,
Mafalda.
obviously, but Mafalda that's a very good one. Mafalda would be something like Peanuts, but more funny than Peanuts.
Mafalda
Okay.
was like Peanuts with more subversive and
Yeah,
to some extent way more
and a lot of political content for
there's
sure.
a lot of political content.
Yeah.
Mafalda, I don't remember
Okay.
where I think it's Argentinian.
Argentinian, the guy from Argentina.
Yeah.
Very good one. But that Mafalda is really good. Mafalda is like Peanut. I would say for me it's better than Peanuts.
It was better than Peanuts. The thing is that Peanuts it was timeless.
Yeah.
Mafalda was very of the moment. It had a joke. One of my favorite jokes was Mafalda comes on and it's always starting something and she says, hey kids, let's play Nuclear War. And everyone is like, yeah, let's play Nuclear War. And they all stand together and they go like, boom. And that was it. And then they leave. Just like, that was fun, let's go.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah, everyone's dead. So it is way more subversive than
and normally it was black and white. The original strip, because Condorito normally was in color.
Yeah.
Not like a very splashy color like Marvel.
Condorito was like 4 color, like literally 4 color.
4 inks or something like that. But Mafalda normally was black and white. But it got so huge back in the day that even did a cartoon. I remember did a cartoon of Mafalda.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and that's really, really good. That one I have. I have the Saho because the sub like in volume, and it's kind of like Peanuts. So you have like 30 years of if you want to buy,
Mhm.
but that's like way too crazy. So I have like a compilation of the best because it's a book of 50 years. My father 50 years. So they
Yeah.
have like from the first decade, second decade, third decade. And the guy died kind of recently, I would say like 10 years ago or something like that. And
Hmm.
he got like a bunch of awards. I remember that even in Spain they had an award for because it was very universal in the whole
Yes,
Spanish community.
he died in September 30th of 2020.
That you see a couple of years ago. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, in Mendoza, in
Okay.
yeah,
Argentina.
yeah, yeah, Argentina.
I'm here and looking here like there's statues in parks in like Oviedo, Spain.
Yeah, no, the guy is huge. That guy
Yeah,
was huge,
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
huge.
yeah, it's Mafalda was more satire than anything else. Like the four comics that were the most important for me, at least like the most popular, were Peanuts, of course, because it's ancient.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Condorito, because it was always there. Mafalda, although it was harder to find for some reason, it wasn't as constant as the other ones, and Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh
Calvin and Hobbes,
yeah,
yeah,
but that's
I grew up with Calvin and Hobbes.
yeah. The
Yeah.
Calvin, I always thought that. Oh, do you guys have ever seen the four schools from Scott McCloud?
the
Or do
four
you
one.
have an the, you know Scott McCloud? Have you ever
Yeah,
heard of
yeah,
him? Yeah, he says
yeah.
that there's four types or four schools of comics, and like there's the animes, the classicists, the iconoclast, and the scholar, basically. And like
Okay.
the classicist is like beauty for beauty's sake. The animes is like story for story's sake. The scholar is the one that studies, basically, and the iconoclast is the one that breaks.
Ah, oh, you mean yeah. You mean the books about comics, Scott McCloud. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in
Yeah.
Understanding Comics, he says that there's four schools.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what was it? The thing is that like I think that Mafalda, Calvin and Hobbes, Peanuts, and Condorito are the four schools. Like at least for like 80s, 90s, 70s. Um, like newspaper comics, newspaper strips.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because all of them were newspaper. Yeah, but I remember Calvin Hobbes also
Mhm.
newspaper like Peanuts
yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah,
But still,
like I always thought that Mafalda was the iconoclast. What's the name of it? Peanuts was the classicist. The uh, Condorito was the animes, and because it's always like story driven. Although it's so randomly story driven. And Calvin and Hobbes is the scholar. Like he's very art directed. Like
Mhm.
he even like stopped because he felt like it, and like I don't know, like he gave up a lot of money. Watterson gave up a lot of money just
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
his integrity. So
yeah, no, no, of course. That for me, he's the in comic strips. I think he's the best.
mhm,
He is. Oh, he's absolutely like the top, the Spitze, as the Germans would say, the peak.
mhm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the goat
Yeah.
for
yeah,
street
Yeah.
comics is Bill. The Waters is the goat by far.
Yeah.
And as you
Oh yeah.
mentioned, he said, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do," and I stop. I don't need to do anything else. I said what I want to say. It's a good run. Thank you.
my
Mhm.
yeah. Also,
Gary Larson, though.
I
Gary
was just
Larson,
I was just
the
gonna
Far
mention him.
Side.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the
he
other goat.
he was not so much. He was more of a story guy. Uh, on the
Gary
joke, because
Larson,
he literally says all the time that he doesn't know how to draw. Um, my other favorite one is
Gary,
like
the
and it,
jokes.
and it's an execution. It's strangely enough because it's made exactly for what it is.
Mhm.
It was Garfield. Garfield is not supposed to be funny. It's not supposed to be anything. Like it's very um it's created to make move merch. That's basically if you talk to the
You
guys, yeah, it's
are you
created to move
familiar?
merch.
Are you familiar with Quentin Reviews?
Quentin reviews, no.
He's a
No.
YouTuber. He did a super, super in-depth look at the history of Garfield. He has a
Hmm.
series. It's very, very interesting. He went like he actually did so much research. He rewrote the history of Garfield. He went and found the original pre-Garfield comics that Jim Davis did.
Nice.
But I mean, yeah, I mean Garfield is just merch without end.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
It's
Oh,
genius.
the same thing they did with Peanuts too. That's why Schultz has become what it becomes. It's because they adopted the Disney model, not to us that much extent, because it's true that there are not that many
Hmm.
films with Snoopy and all that.
mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's a lot of merch on some Peanuts, but tons,
yeah.
and
Oh
that's how
yeah.
they make the money for sure. And
Well,
because
the Chuck was from St. Paul, from exactly where I am right now. And we have a little game in St. Paul where you try to find the peanut character. Um,
Okay.
they are hidden all over the city, and they are like 5 feet tall, like each one of them. Like they're big
Mhm.
statues, but they're like literally all over the city. Like some of them are like in someone's backyard, some of them are in like storefronts, parks, whatever. So yeah, they're all hidden. And I'm just still looking at this stuff. This is I'm still looking at. I went from Mafalda and stuff like that. I'm still looking at James
it's also
Hong.
from Minnesota. Yeah, I didn't know that Schultz was from Minnesota too.
Yeah, Chuck is from here,
Okay.
and the he later they later moved like to California. It's like the Mars Corporation, or Totinos. Um, anyway,
Say hi to the both two of the viewers we have. I think one is
hi.
from YouTube, another from um, Twitch. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, hey!
awesome.
Lovely if you send us a comment so we know who you are.
Let me see what
Interact a
else.
little bit. So the news. So we had the evangelist. So as we know, the musician from Blade Runner, the peak for me in science fiction.
Mhm.
Nothing beyond that, my opinion. And the music is fantastic, and it's one of those, especially those pianos or electronic thing. It's music for the future, you know. One of the first guys you see that on screen, you know, because through the electronic music has been going on forever. And for example, Germany has a big scene of electronic music,
Mhm.
huge. The Berlin is crazy. The amount of bands and people who just do electronic music. But one of the first time I really saw it apply in a masterpiece way was with Evangelis and of course Blade Runner, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
Like, go ahead.
will be miss, huge talent.
Besides the,
It was Greek, right? Evangelis was Greek, no?
I don't know.
Was he?
I think so. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, one of those guys that had like very. You see, yeah. Evangelos Olidesas Papatinaiso. So, yep, very Greek in Agria.
Let's see.
Agria. Yeah, yeah, one. Yeah, it's in the east of Greece. So yeah, I knew it was like yeah. Oh, well, like George Michael. He's like his. I don't know if he's Greek or his fathers are Greek, something like that.
I don't know. I really don't
One of
know that
those
much
big.
about George Michael.
Yeah. Has one of those big names, Devopolopoulos or one of those.
My sister-in-law is Greek. She was very happy to take my brother's family name, which was much, much shorter.
Oh yeah, I really would.
Georgios Kyriakos Panagiotou. That's George Michael. Well, was sorry.
I have this friend. Andy. He's Greek, but he's not any kind of Greek. He is Spartan. From Sparty. He's always bitching that it's not Sparta, it's Sparty. It's like, okay. And his name is Andreas Kapadenakos, and which apparently is something really important in the story of Sparty. Anyway, his mom comes over one time, and we were gonna go play Dungeons and Dragons over at his place, like at noon, and I get there, and his mom receives me, and she's super nice old lady. She goes like, hi Eric, how you doing? You want some breakfast and stuff, and like how you like your eggs and whatever. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And suddenly Andy comes out and he sits down, and she goes from me to him, and she goes like, Spartan, how do you like your eggs?
Who?
And then he goes to his mother, Spartan, scrambled. And I'm not even joking. Like I don't know if you know this. Like Spartans are known for like being very, very, very brief, but very clever. Especially in like literature and everything.
Well,
And
man, I think 300 made a lot of their case. You know.
I'm not talking about 300 even. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like there's so much Spartan history. Um, I cannot quote one now. I don't want to misquote, but I'll check out later for next time. Um, but it's not even like what's the number 300. Anywho, but it's true. Like to each other. Like he had another friend, Dominicos, and he also spoke like that. Like when they talked to each other, like to everybody else, they were totally normal. But yeah,
It was
like
a shtick.
it was more of a cultural thing because they still have like that Spartan pride, you know. Uh so yeah. Let me see what
You
else.
know, Sonia, that you heard, that you saw somewhere. Ah, wow, that's pretty cool. So you just inked that in 10 minutes. Oh, less than 10
Yep.
minutes. 15 minutes.
Told you, I'm good in traditional. It's digital where I'm struggling.
Yeah, but no way. You're doing traditional, then you scan it. That's it. You don't need to, We didn't force anybody to use any technique,
No, it's okay. I mean, you got to try at some point, right? Like at some point you have to actually make
especially
the effort.
coloring. It's problematic.
Especially coloring, yeah. I mean, when I first started coloring in digital, people, I would put up my work to try to get feedback, and people would literally tell me to learn color theory. It made me so angry. I'm like, I've been doing watercolors and markers for 20 years. I'm known for my use of color, and people are like, you need to learn color theory. And I'm just like,
I love when people that are not in the know like don't like they think that they understand like classic techniques.
I
Like,
know.
It happens everywhere now.
Hmm?
Same thing happens with scripts. So, oh no, the script was one the best. What the fuck you know about script, man? How many scripts have you wrote? Oh no, because I watched TV for 30 years. So
Yeah.
okay.
Well, and what makes me really mad is like when digital artists who very quickly are just doing like control fill make disparaging remarks on digital. It's like, well, like it's not like I don't view digital as a valid medium. I do, absolutely. Color theory is color theory, but if you're just hitting flats and gradients with control fill, like lasso tool control fill, it's very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be picking good colors, but if you're relying on palettes, if you're just doing control fill, if you don't know how to actually paint, then please just don't. Like, please don't.
Yeah.
My favorite
So yeah,
one.
I mean, because like the color wheel too in digital, it's so different from picking pigments in watercolor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm used to working with physical pigments that you can mix, and then to have this like color selector wheel, super weird to me. It's getting better, but still.
No, but it's problematic, especially when you go to the printing. It's very problematic.
Yeah.
We had this issue in the past, not with this project, but with one of the first. It was not exactly my project. It was like just consulting, and oof, because the thing is that you go to a printer, they don't care about your techniques or
Yeah.
like, hey, these have to be Pantone or they have to be because these need to be uniform in everything I print. So if this author works like this and another author works with it, it's a huge mess.
Yeah.
Huge mess. So that's why I think everybody does it like that, because of that, is to avoid issues when they're printing. Because if you're just gonna like publish online, then even there is not even an issue, because as long as you don't need to put it on physical paper, nobody really cares.
Yeah. No, and it's not something you think about until you're doing, physical copies. And a lot of people don't do that. I mean, it's only online. It's always just like sort of social media work, and they don't,
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's very annoying that, like, say, ArtStation wants me to do like pixels per inch, and it's like, okay, but like this is a watercolor. I can scan it at a certain resolution, but it's not a digital painting where I set the pixel count to start with, and I need DPI. And this is one of the problems I have with the ArtStation marketplace, is it's so heavily skewed towards digital. If you're a traditional artist, you're basically screwed with the printing.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I didn't count this. I didn't set this in pixels.
Oh, but with inks, there's no issue. When you can scan it really good, and then just the guy from coloring can go knock himself out. But if you do it coloring, the traditional is probably problematic to read in a proper way, because that's another thing. Maybe the person that knows a little bit can set up some approximate, but then the artist doesn't like it. The critic, this is not what I draw.
It does help to have a proper scanner. I upgraded from I used to, for a while, I just had a like an all-in-one printer and scanner. I still have it here, but then at some point I just realized that it's not giving me enough detail, and I upgraded to an Epson V40 photo scanner, and it makes a huge difference, not just for inks, but for watercolor and graphite. And then you just have to know how to tweak things a little bit with the settings. You can do a lot in Picasa and Photoshop to just bring out the vibrancy and get rid of the dust. But like having a good scanner makes a huge difference.
But it's good. Having good equipment overall, it's always makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do it, Eric? You well, I think you normally work in digital, no?
I work in both.
Okay.
I work in both. Right now I'm doing a little series in watercolor, because I want to have a gallery show next year, and they're gonna be like just small things. So yeah, a friend of mine has an in with a couple of galleries in Chicago, and well, he's what's the name of it? He's a curator for a museum.
Nice.
And we were talking about having a gallery show later in the year, and he was asking me to find him like 10 artists to have an art vending machine.
I saw you mention that.
Yeah.
So you just put in the ring and give you something.
Yes. You put $10 and you get a tiny. It's gonna be a 4x4, so it's not really that big, and it's gonna be like just simple.
Vending machine. Okay.
That's
and
cool.
you can have
That's a cool
like
idea.
a bunch. Yeah, and like it's nothing that impressive, like, but it's gonna be an installation in this gallery in Aurora, Illinois, and so yeah, so we're still working on that. We're still prepping for that stuff. I think I'm just gonna do a bunch of like alcohol ink stuff. or
No, you
like
can do witches or something like that. Yeah, use something you already use
yeah,
before.
or I was thinking of doing something more abstract on that one, like maybe
Okay.
fluid, something fluid, because I have been working on fluid, but selling fluid is really hard. Like everyone wants to see fluid being made, that no one wants to pay for it. Um,
Story
so
of my life.
yeah, um, so yeah, I'm just doing like just this giant. Since like my two big things is that I'm faster than everyone. I want to make
Hmm.
like a 200 uh, piece gallery show.
Okay.
So most likely I'm gonna try to have it maybe by next week. No, no, next week, next month, next year. Um,
You're
so
gonna do
anywho,
some pages, or it's just gonna be just some pieces, or
just some pieces, just some pieces. Let me show you. I just destroyed one last night. Uh, um,
that for
it's
us is
just
a lot more complicated.
it's just comic work. Um,
Nobody wants to see writers exhibitions.
no, like stuff like this. I mean, the light
Okay,
is not the best, you know.
cool.
Um, stuff like this. It's nothing like out of the ordinary. Um, I was thinking of doing since I know this is not gonna say anything. Doing stuff like this. You
Cool.
know, this is more
Ah,
on this one. This is one of my favorite right now because it's a 300 pound, paper. Um, so yeah, stuff like that. Just make like 200, 300 of them, and just go from there.
Cool. You can put with the girl that we did for the anthology, for
Yeah,
example.
similar. I have it over there too. So yeah, just on like
Nice.
on comic work, I try to do it digital mostly because comic. Um, if you mess up in a watercolor, like I just destroyed one because I messed up a skin color
yeah.
completely. Like it came out like I bought this new set of markers, alcohol markers, and I was like, oh, I can use this one for the like skin tones, and like I used it and it dried like super red.
What was the
Um,
brand?
oh, it's the what's the name of it? It's the Blick brand.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Um,
we don't have those here.
no, you don't have them.
No, but I know of
Mostly,
Blick.
yeah. Blick basically I know the local Blick people, and they gave me a set. I was like, oh, I'll try them, and they're very nice. They're very intense, but you have to know how they're gonna dry.
Hmm.
Um, and I made the mistake of like using them without testing. So I'm gonna have to start
Oops.
again. Yeah, you have to test like all the colors. Doesn't matter how good or how expensive they are. Like from Copic to to like what's the name of that brand? I forgot the name of the brand. Um, so yeah, you always have to test no matter what. And
Yeah.
and then I learned that then I discovered that alcohol ink doesn't work very well with Faber Castell brand, even when Faber Castell says that it's waterproof. Um, so that was fun. No, Faber Castell, Stadler.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, Stadler and alcohol ink for some reason do not work. Um, so yeah, and about comic is just like I like to change some in comic, like like right now, like I have like the some of the pages open for our project because I was just like checking what do I need, and yeah, I I'm literally going like I'm gonna need to change this, like literally I'm like changing everything. And in watercolor, if you don't, you
Yeah, of
have
course.
to eat it. There's
Yeah.
Yep.
either you have to eat it or you have to find a way to like make it work in your advantage. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a small mistake, I can sometimes like fix it in post. Like when I scan it, I can do a little copy paste job. There's also watercolor grounds you can apply over if it's a small mistake. But yeah, I've also had paintings where I've been like,
You have to.
into the
Yeah.
bin. It's too messed up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
spend like 4 hours on something, 2 hours
Yeah,
on
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think a
And
lot of people really underestimate watercolor and how hard it is. I've seen in a lot of watercolor groups where people are like, I started with oils and acrylics and I thought this would be easy. I was wrong.
no, watercolor does not want to work with you. And it's watercolor is like a child that's like super smart and knows what it's doing. And if you tell them to do something, it's not gonna do it. It's just you have to
Yeah.
let it. You have to let it do its own thing.
You have to let the chaos happen.
Yeah, it will happen. It will
Yeah.
happen like nicely, but
Yeah, it'll
like
make you yeah. No, I mean I remember a couple years ago on Twitter there was this big thing about like people not being able to do skin tones, like darker skin tones.
mhm,
And like from the perspective of a watercolor artist or a marker artist,
mhm,
I can kind of get it. Like if you don't have good quality pigments,
mhm,
like if you have cheaper alcohol markers or if you have watercolors of a lesser quality, like the Cotmans brand, they're
yes,
still Winsor and Newton, but they're student quality and they have more filler.
yep,
In order to do darker skin, you have to know how to use watercolor and you have to have like good browns that don't granulate and that don't muddy.
mhm,
Like I've had really excellent results with Daniel Smith for darker skin tones, like
mhm,
really top results. But they have an
yes,
amazing range of browns.
yeah,
But like a lot of the browns and like the skin tones that you would use in watercolor, they're earth pigments, and earth pigments granulate.
mhm,
They're
a lot.
not like the synthetic pigments that stain. They're a granulating pigment, and if you try to layer, they muddy. Or if you layer and you don't know how, yeah.
Very
So
fast.
it takes practice for sure, but
Yeah,
it's also just again practice, having good materials, and
I usually use
not
Seneli.
whining.
You need a really good paper.
Yeah,
Not
exactly. You
all
also
paper
need good
works.
paper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
watercolor can be super unforgiving if you don't have good paper.
it's yeah, especially
Yeah.
like what's the name of it? I haven't used Senelier. I don't know if you use if you like those oils.
Watercolor or paper?
Watercolor.
Do I have Sennelier pigments? I have Sennelier ink paper,
Mm-hmm.
and I super like it.
Okay.
I think how much Sennelier paint do I have? I think most of my paints right now are Schmink Hordam, which is super good,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
No, I.
Daniel Smith.
Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
Mickey is the one. Like I bought a thing. My local place art store basically
Mm-hmm.
talks to them all the time, and they get like custom palettes, like
Yeah.
pins, and they sell them for like $60, and they're amazing. Like it's totally worth the $60. It's not even funny.
Yeah. I
And,
have the Schmink Hordam. This was the Schatzkiste, like the limited palette of golds that they put out
oh
several
yeah,
years
yeah, yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah.
I have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What
I
I
also have, oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, please.
No. I also sometimes have bought handmade paints over Etsy from like artists,
Mm-hmm.
especially artists in like Eastern Europe. You can sometimes find very affordable but very, very good quality, like
Yeah.
one-off batch handmade. A lot of times they use clove oil as the preservative.
Mm-hmm.
It's like honey and clove.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really nice ones. There's some other like German and Italian and French brands that make like super high quality, but it's like over €100 for a palette of 6. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
No,
not
I
making
know.
that much money off my art to justify that.
Yes.
For rich ones, rich
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah, and I feel like that's maybe some people for whom watercolor is like, I don't want to come across as judgy, but for watercolor is more of a hobby as opposed to like producing work.
Yeah.
I
Well,
missed
Like,
I missed the first part of the sentence of the idea. What do you? Can you repeat it?
like I feel that if somebody's buying a watercolor palette of like 6 different blues
Mm-hmm.
for over 100 euros or more, like that's very nice, but I feel that this person is perhaps more of a hobbyist.
Mm.
Like, again, nothing wrong with having great materials. I love all my art materials. I have many, but like if you're working, if you're producing material for sale or at like a better pace, I mean, you
Yeah.
know, like I have like fountain pens, but I don't have like Mont Blanc fountain pens. That's way too expensive for what I need.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to spend $60 on a bottle of ink. For the amount of ink I go through, that's insane.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I feel to some extent that like that's like like people like you or I are not using those paints. We need different paints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need you like paper. Like you have no idea how much paper I go through.
Oh, no,
Because
I totally I am also a teacher. I kill
mm-hmm.
trees.
Yeah. Which
I mean, let's make copies of 5 pages for 20 kids.
yeah. Yeah.
You don't buy this most super expensive paper,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
No. Yeah, because basically you mess up so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like I end up destroying like maybe half of my paper. Like
Uh-huh.
like whenever bring out like arches or something like that, that's when I actually pay attention. Like, but most of the
Yeah.
other time it's like let it run.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
right now I'm using a fluid, which it's working really well. Like that's the brand fluid. It's not the style. Um, and I'm
The
trying.
golden fluids?
No. Give me a second. Let me find it for you.
Now Chris is zooming out.
Yeah.
no, I normally what I normally use. I'm not a. Of course, I'm not an artist. Plastic one for sure. I can draw for shit. But I normally what I do sometimes, especially when I'm conventional, when I'm really stressed, I color things. I have one of
Okay.
those. I have like several, like from like Japanese art and I just
Okay.
I remember that a friend of mine just gave me like his panels just to color for fun, stuff like that. So I just like with brush pens with brush markers normally, I just like go to town, and that's something
Mhm.
that really. But for me, that's as you mentioned. That for me, it's a hobby. I don't do it. I don't plan to charge anybody for it. I don't sell them, but
Yeah.
but they relax me a lot, because I'm not really
Yeah.
thinking of anything. I just paying attention to that,
Yeah.
just going
So
to town.
this is the brand that I've been
Ah,
using.
okay. Okay.
Um, they're fairly affordable, and like they have like this. It's more of a day to day, 140.
Mhm.
Um, la, thing. But this is like their heavier brand. It's like cotton, 300-pound cold. You know,
Yeah.
like they have like multiple levels, and I'm trying to see
Yeah.
if I can like draw enough that they're gonna say like we should sponsor this guy.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
was thinking. Hey, if Fluid wants to sponsor us, this stream, this podcast, this video,
oh yeah, like believe me,
welcome.
I'm I'm trying to get either Senelier or Fluid to sponsor me. Like I I I post them on
Okay,
everything. Oh,
welcome.
you're falling down. Um,
Good.
which one do you have? Let me see.
This is the new Paper Blanks mixed media sketchbook. These are brand new,
Mm,
the mixed media paper.
mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
I got sent it for free because they did a feature on me.
Oh, nice.
Paper Blanks and blog
Nice.
is
Oh,
there with my art. And they
Nice.
sent me a free sketchbook. And I, of course, asked for the biggest, newest, most expensive one.
of course.
So I'm excited to test this out. Yeah, because Paper Blanks has never done a mixed media before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
shout out to them. Paper Blanks.
yeah, I was featured on their blog and they sent me a sketchbook. I can't complain.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Supporting artists. Good.
Paper blanks.
Yes. Paper
Yeah, it's
blanks.
like for notebooks, right? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They
Sorry
have.
to interrupt you. I mean, I
Oh
also
no.
have never been like sponsored. Like I know people who are like, "Ooh, markers sent me like the whole set," or like, "I'm sponsored by Copic now," and I'm like, "That's nice. Good for you."
Yeah. Yeah, I should switch. I should switch to like Copic or something like that. Something that is more comic based. I don't think Senelier is like that into comics. Um. Yeah. No, I have seen them before. They do. They put like everything on Barnes and Noble over here.
Yeah.
Um.
No. Yeah. I really like paper blanks for my bullet journals.
Yeah.
And they're originally a Canadian company, actually based in Vancouver. So
Oh.
I've had stuff from them since I was like 13, 14 years old. Like I have 2 journals from back when their journals were like hand bound, like with just the
Mm-hmm.
covers with like an open spine.
Yes.
I have like old stuff from them.
Yeah, I was actually
So
gonna buy one of these the other day. Remember when I was talking to you about last week about my Hello Kitty
Yeah, your notebook.
journal notebook? Yeah. Um. Anywho, yeah, I
I
forgot what I was
remember
gonna
that
say.
in this for me the whole thing with the marker started because I was in a convention in Madrid. I don't know, 3
Mhm,
4 years ago, and they were giving some samples away to everybody in the
mhm.
artist alley, and also they had like a special offer for
hmm,
artists, but like 30% off. And I bought a whole kit. It was like 40 different colors, and it's one of those like you have the marker on one side, and the other side is like a pencil. Oh, no, pencil, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a pencil. My God, like an easel and brush. That's what I'm looking
Oh, like the
for.
brush tip.
Yeah, you have like one side is the marker, and the other one's like
Mhm.
a brush. So you can choose, but it's the same color, so it's fantastic. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
and it comes since then, and I just do it because I get really anxious when I'm, especially when it's a lot of people,
Yeah.
and
I
so
understand. Yeah.
I need to to do something out to zone out to because you know how it is. It comes a long time, and if you're not doing something, it can be really tedious.
Yeah.
Because it's true that you're not always selling. So,
Yeah.
so that's
I
kind of
have I have like some of the old Tria Pro markers still, like the
hmm.
really like the ones that they were using in the 70s and the 80s and 90s that I picked up when I started art school. And I don't want to get rid of them. I need to find out how to refill them because Winsor and Newton bought Letraset and they don't make the Trias anymore. Because the Trias are amazing because they have on one side is a chisel tip, and on the other
Hmm.
side is the brush tip, but there's another tip that fits over it to give you like a really, really fine
Hmm.
brush stroke, like super fine, like almost like a fine liner.
Hmm.
yeah, similar
And
to
I was
this.
really disappointed when they don't make them anymore. Yeah.
Oh, those are fantastic, and I have like both. I have like the thick ones and thin ones,
Yeah.
and I have one small ones like for lining work and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, they're pretty cool. And that's like as and I in that ballpark you mentioned, just for that for me that's just a hobby. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That's not my line of work, but it's something nice. So just some.
Yeah. Well, markers
Okay.
have become so big now. Like
Yeah,
they've really exploded.
and you have like tons of types. You have like with
Yeah.
pointing sticks or with rectangular ones or more like
Yeah.
triangle ones or
Yeah.
with brush.
I would still say the best ones are Copics, Shinhan.
Copics, yeah.
Here in Germany, Stylefile is really good. The Ohu ones I think are basically they look exactly like the Stylefiles, but the Stylefiles came up first. But the Stylophiles are really nice. I have a lot of them. Prismacolor, which I only have a few, but they're nice. They're the hexagonal ones from the UK. And then like ProMarker, which is now Winsor and Newton, but like ProMarker, Shinhan, Copic. I would say Stylefile are up there. I haven't tried the Uhu yet, but I've heard they're good. Prismacolor. Yeah, those are sort of the best ones.
Yeah, the Copic,
But
those, yeah, very, very
yeah,
well known.
I'm
Indeed.
I'm trying very hard to shift my collection into like refillables because it just annoys me to pay that much for a marker and have to chuck it. Like it's one of the things I don't like about the Pro markers is that like the Tria markers from Letraset were refillable, but the Pro markers now that Winsor and Newton has them, they're not refillable, and I don't like that. And they have these like watercolor markers; they're also not refillable.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
not a
The
fan.
problem with Copics is that they tend to be expensive. That's the only thing, and I don't.
Yes,
tend to
yes.
be really
The Copic sketches are, but they're not refillable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I mean, one of the things too about Copics is that company is one of these really, really traditional Japanese companies that when they hire you for life. They do
Nice.
not fire people.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the demand for Copics has exploded, they're not willing to hire on more people for what may just be a trend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. No, especially when you have a brand already established, you don't have to go crazy, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to massify everything because at the end of the day, still your sales are really good. So why
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to greed, you know? That's sort of that's for me like that's the I always say that that's the difference between I don't know, a race car and a Kia, you know? Race car they're
Yeah.
just gonna produce X amount of the year, but they're gonna pay attention to every detail. They're gonna pay attention to the leather and the seats and the engine and the doors and the roof, and so everything is gonna be really look out for. Except the other one is just a line that you just produce, sell,
Yeah.
produce. So of course you pay for that at the end of the day too, you know. When it's mass produced, it's gonna have more. It's not gonna be
Yeah.
so well kept, the details for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that happens with everything, with art or with books or with anything.
Yeah.
If it's something that takes time and you don't have restriction of, oh, we need to finish this, and so you just go to town, you know. You can see it too,
Yeah.
you know. That's for sure. So normally, so after this first the news part that we talk about this, we're developing this topic of markers and supply arts. Then we have the topic section. So what we did in the Spanish one, we kind of like talk about it the week before, and then we just somebody brings something to the table. So what we can do is for next week, we can, or like we also did in the Spanish one, it's just like ask. We ask in the Facebook group that if you're not in the Facebook group, please join. And it's a private one, so it's Unpopular Studios, and we can answer that. Whatever people want us to talk about, we can go from there, or we can choose it. So, as you guys wish.
Sounds good.
Right, and then we can bring something related to the topic, or we can create something related to the topic, or you know, so it can be interactive in that way, you know. For example, in the Spanish one we did, we talk about a little bit of AI,
Mm-hmm.
and the topic was like, well, robot. That was the topic, but we can have another one.
I'm just waiting for you to finish. So like, I was just checking something, and I was reading the news on Netflix while we were all talking. But yeah, AI.
Yeah, or anything. That's just an example. We even cannot say now. We just can decide for next week. But we post it there. We vote, or
We sh- we should do a post, mostly because that way we can like move it around or something like that.
yeah.
I would definitely what's the name of it? I would definitely like do like would like to do a what's the name of it? Deep deep dive on Eastern Europe uh art manufacturers, because now I'm super like I need to check this out.
Okay.
Um So
Eastern Europe manufacturers. Okay.
In Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe are manufacturers. Because you never know, you know.
Yeah. Kohinoor, I think, is Czech or Hungarian.
Hmm.
Could be wrong.
Is Czechia?
Some of the really nice ink makers for like fountain pen inks are actually Eastern European. There's a couple really nice Hungarian manufacturers and like some Polish as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, a lot of really awesome Asian companies for really nice inks.
Yeah, that's a given.
This is
Um,
the dangers of being into fountain pens.
I was gonna ask, like, where does Eastern Europe start, and where does Western Europe start? Because, like, I thought that Poland was like center.
No, Poland
No,
is
Germany is the
Europe.
center.
Yes.
It's like usually, well, Eastern Europe is usually considered to be like Slavic Europe, and that's where you find the Slavic languages. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Germany is like
Center.
Germanic, the countries around it speak Germanic languages.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you go into Eastern Europe, this is the Slavic language. There used to be more German language speakers in Eastern Europe, like the Sudetenland, and that was all destroyed in the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
And those speaker communities who were in like the Czech Republic and Poland, they migrated like back into Germany. Germany also has a minority people called the Sorbians. They live up around Berlin, which is in the east, and they speak a Slavic language called Wendish.
The Sorbians.
So they are like originally a Slavic people who migrated in like more westward.
Okay.
So up like on the border, yeah, like up on the border of Germany, of Poland, it's a little bit more mixed. It's not like so clear cut. But yeah, like usually Eastern Europe is considered this like the Slavic peoples who speak Slavic languages. Or the language isolates too.
I just had a flashback to I had this German professor, and she was a nun from Frankfurt.
Okay. From
And she
Hessen.
was
Nice.
yeah, and her name was Paulette, and she was pretty amazing. They were in this monastery, this group called the Schönstatt. And it was based in they had like places in Germany and Puerto Rico, which is a very weird two places to have like monasteries. But anyway, she like was explaining to us once why Germany was the center of the world. Like when you said like Germany is the center, I was like, yeah, that's the German thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a logic to like why Germany was the center. And it was kind of hard to fight her, mostly because she's an ancient nun. Like you don't really fight them. But it was really funny. It was really Schoenstatt, like their main thing is that they had really pretty monasteries or nunneries. I mean, sorry, and it was really 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 cute because they had they helped people. That nunnery was more based on helping people in Puerto Rico that had AIDS. This is in the 90s.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they were tending to the sick.
A convent is the word you're looking for, not a nunnery. A convent.
Yes, I don't know the words in English. I know them in
okay.
Spanish.
That's okay.
Anyway, so so we go one day because I had to bring a paper in German that I had written, and the nun the Paulette told me to like just come over and to the convent, and we get there, and it's like my friends and I, and all my friends are like large. We get out and whatever, and they're super nice over there, and she goes like, "Oh, come here, Herr Lervold. We have you want some cookies, and we have some nectar, whatever." And like we're like eating cookies and nectar, and suddenly like there's this ancient nun, like she's like 300 years, like being a nun, and like she is pushing this wheelbarrow with like about 8 feet, the stack 8 feet tall of of newspapers, and like they were like, oh, I was like, why so many newspapers? And she's like, oh, we recycle them to have money for so we can help the poor, and like, and they were like doing like little things like picking up cans and like for recycling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we were feeling super bad. And then there was this other nun, and she was pushing a lawnmower. And this nun, if she weighed 50 pounds, was too many. It was entirely too many. And like I'm pretty sure that the lawnmower was about to like take off with her. We felt so bad. We just told her to like go over there and sit down, and we just finished mowing the lawn and moving all the newspapers. I was like,
That was
they were like,
probably her plan all along.
most likely, but they were super nice. Plus, they gave us nectars, and we were like, "You guys are ancient. We're like strapping young lads. Like, just sit down. It's gonna take us no time to do this, you know." But yeah, they're super nice. Germany,
For
center
me,
of the world.
anything that's beyond Poland is Eastern Europe.
Yeah, pretty
So-
much. Yeah.
And some people even argue that Poland is already Eastern Europe, but the Poles don't like that for sure.
No, but the history of this area is so mixed. Like it's gone back and forth so much.
Yeah.
It's like down here with like where I live. There's the currently French province of Alsace. If you drive into Alsace, like all the names are clearly German names, but with a French pronunciation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I say this, it's German. It's just spelt differently because this is an area that's traditionally belonged to France or Germany or back and forth through history, and currently they're just like, no, they don't really see themselves as French. They see themselves as Alsatians, and they don't really want to be considered French. Yeah, they're not German.
All the issues with the nationalism. That's another totally different ballgame. And in Europe is very complicated.
Yeah, it is. It's very.
You have like small towns inside of countries that they believe they are special and historical, blah blah blah, and our roots and so everyone's and most of the times are ridiculous places. Sorry for my French. It's like 2 houses and a river. That's a country. So
yeah.
No,
it's
the thing that me out with Germans a little bit is like they were not Germany 200 years ago.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is what I'm explaining to my students right now. It's like, remember?
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
We're part of other things. Part of the Austrians were before a nation than them, for example.
Yeah, the Austria-Hungarian Empire. Yeah.
Or the Hungarians.
This is what I told my students. So we're learning about Germany right now, and I'm like, okay, so like every German state used to be its own kingdom, and they're like, oh, okay, like. I'm like, yeah, that's why it looks like this, and why we have different crests and all these different things.
So it's a lot of BS.
Two houses and a river. That's the
best. Yeah, for sure.
No. That's the best. That's the best way to describe the Holy Roman Germanic Empire. Like 2 houses and a river, and a bunch of them.
I don't know. It was ridiculous when we went to Belgium. That is by itself already a small country.
Yeah, Belgium is already super divided. Like the Flemish and the French.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't know that. It's like, I remember we went to Bruges, and we went to what's the other one? Not Bruges. Well, one of those, because Belgium is like three towns more or less. And no, I said, oh no, we are not because I was trying to speak a little bit French to practice, and I said, no. Here is Flemish. I said, excuse me, Flemish.
Yeah. It's a Dutch dialect, yeah.
Like, what?
Wasn't that like some area of over there like owned by Spain, like rented by Spain?
Yeah, originally, originally the Netherlands, the lowlands, through marriage, I think it was, temporarily belonged to Spain, and the locals were not happy about it.
No, of course not.
Hence the word they were just.
No, dude, no, sorry, no, you're not a country, no, forget about that. You speak Aramaic, okay, good for you. I don't care.
Should hold on. I was gonna. Oh, Bruges. I have my friend Sean. He's from Dublin, and he moved to Des Moines, and we were talking one day, and he goes, and we mentioned Bruges, and he says that Bruges is basically Iowa, but with nicer architecture. Like it's literally Iowa.
Yeah, but
Like
and don't get me wrong, the place is beautiful.
no, it's beautiful, but it's Iowa.
Beautiful, eh?
Like
Yeah.
Beautiful churches and the
no,
houses, and especially because we went in Christmas, so it was
Oh,
like spectacular. You know, the snow and the markets and be incredibly beautiful. But sorry, it's not another country. I don't know.
Yeah. I tell Germans when they ask about Canada that Quebec is the Bavaria of Canada. They have their own language, they have their own culture. The big difference is that Quebec has not a very good economy, and Bavaria is like one of the most economically powerful German states. It's very wealthy. In that sense, they are not the same. But like in regards to other attitudes.
That's what pisses me off. I have a little brother. Well, little brother, he's 40 now, but we're not the same, and we're brothers. We were raised same mother, same father. We were raised together, but we're not the same. Nobody's the same. Even if you have like a clone of yourself, that clone is gonna grow and become another person because his circumstances are gonna be totally different from yours. Even if you have the same face, the same body, nobody's the same. Nothing is the same. So all this idea that because there are some differences that are normal, we are magically something special or somebody who needs to be regarded differently. It's bullshit.
it's a very it's a very like Northern European way of thinking, like the special part. Like you're like having more of a Latin, like you're describing more of a Latin way of thinking that we're like we have this commonality.
Yeah, no, but it happens even in our own community. You know this.
Yeah.
In our community, oh no, we are Mexicans. Oh no, we're Dominican. No, dude, no.
No, we have one language.
That's it. And our culture and the history, we're very, very similar. It's true that, of course, we're gonna. As I always put the example. I put again the example. Me and my brother, we are different. We are different people, but that doesn't mean that he's a separate entity from. Well, he is, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
not like
No. I follow you.
Different species than me. No,
I follow you.
It's like it's ridiculous, and all this idea, and the issue is that is used by economical factors and to divide and have people fighting each other all the time.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm
So
agreeing with
stupid.
you. Remember when I told you the other day that in Europe, if it snows too much in one place 1 year, the next one you're gonna have a brand new language.
Yeah, that's another thing. Something that we should see like richness. Hey, we speak 5 languages. That's fantastic. That's good. No, it's a tool to divide. So no, because I speak one language, you speak another language, we're different. No.
But that's a very like normal thing to happen. Like it is a rule in linguistics that if you have a population and one half of that population moves across the river, within like a year or months, they will start to speak differently.
Yeah, of course.
Like that is what people do. Is you
that's what we have
inherently try to do
standardized
within your community.
And we have a grammar and we have so people don't so the language doesn't divert into other things. But that doesn't change what we are.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? Because of course languages are different and there are 50 words in Eskimo for snow. Who cares?
No, not really.
That's not relevant for you as a person.
No.
We have 50 words for bananas in Puerto Rico.
In northern Germany, they have 50 words for rain.
I believe it.
So
I have a friend who's northern German, and I swear every time it rains, she has a new word to describe what kind of rain it is. How hard is the rain? How much
That
is the
doesn't-
rate? How much can you see?
We
that
have
doesn't
we have
change.
something like that in Puerto Rico too,
Yeah.
because it's a rainforest. Guess what
And
happens in
Yeah.
the rainforest?
Of course. Of course,
Um,
language is a tool used to
Yeah, yeah.
describe your environment. So it's normal that your vocabulary is different because your setting is different. But that doesn't change you as a person.
No, of course not. The
That doesn't make you different or special or we need to divide or we need to fight because no. It's
the
ridiculous.
as a
Very, very
parenthesis,
ridiculous.
on language, which I really find funny. My German professor, then um, in my second year of German, she was like, "Herr Leopold, you speak German like you speak Deutsch like the people from Berlin," and I was like, "That good?" She's like, "No, that's bad." I was like, "Okay."
Well,
So,
even Germans can be quite divided. Like when I was in Bavaria,
mhm.
there were other students there who were from East Germany, and they would prefer if we were at a restaurant that I would order because the Bavarians would be nicer to the foreigner who was trying to speak German than they would be to the East Germans.
I believe it.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like
So you
Germany is
have
a very regional country. Like
Hmm.
much, much more so than like in Canada or the United States. It's very, yeah. I find it's very different than Canada. It's very like it's in Canada, like everybody sounds like me. Like if you meet a Canadian, you can sometimes tell that they're Canadian, but you don't know from where in Canada, usually. You have to figure it out. Maybe you can tell rural, urban, or like east, west, but it's kind of hard. Because we just have had
probably
dialect
people
leveling.
have a strong French influence, but that's not too many. Like you say Quebec or something like that.
That's
maybe-
Quebec. Yeah, that's Quebec. But like a lot of people in Quebec are not bilingual. They're monolingual in French. It's only 17% of Canadians who are fully like bilingual in English and French. And like if you work for the government, you have to be bilingual. Like my brother's in the army, so he used to be the armed forces, so he used to be bilingual. But like the majority of us are not bilingual. I was not raised to consider, like I'm from Alberta, I was not raised to consider bilingualism as an asset. And now that I live in Europe, I'm like, well, okay, like people constantly assume I speak French, and I'm like, no, because I'm from Alberta. Nobody speaks French where I'm from except this like tiny little group near Edmonton, like in Sherwood Park. Like, no, but I mean, when I was growing up, like bilingualism was not considered a useful thing in my culture.
Of course. It should.
And now I'm just like, well, in hindsight.
It should.
Yeah.
We had speaking of differences, in Puerto Rico in like the 80s and 90s and a little bit later, we had there was these commercials like the government would put out these commercials and these other groups would put out these commercials like explaining Spanish in a really interesting way, and their slogan was defectious language breeds defectious minds. And like
Oh, that's conservative.
yeah.
Nice.
No, but it was like you don't say tuna, you say atún. Or you don't say, or tuna is the people who sing, because tuna is a group. It says like you say atún, or like you don't say this thing, you don't say anglicisms, you say this thing. And like for the longest time in this newspaper, we had this page that was making fun of people that said things in the wrong way. Like, and it was on the daily. It was like just burning people that was like, check it out, this dumbass said this the wrong way, or they wrote it this way. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, and for me it's a tragedy because I remember in New York there are a lot of Latin people who are like, well, born in New York or whatever, or were taken there very young, and they don't speak Spanish.
No,
it's like that's
terrible. That's terrible. You just lose like big part of your identity forever, because you're even if you have a perfect English, blah blah blah, you study your accent, all that. You have your surname is gonna give you out, easily. or even your name. If you're spelled Jose, you say, oh, this guy's not from here. You know what I'm saying? This is a whole idea. So
Yeah.
why just no?
I
And it's
had
a
to actually
big tool.
had to actually change my name in like to sound more Latin because I was getting tired of people like bitching at me because they thought I was, a white guy. Or
Really?
like, yeah, like because my real name is Eric Lervold, which is like the most Norwegian name in the planet. Um, and like there's a ton of us that are Eric Lervolds. And the problem is that literally like I would say something and people will be like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." It's like, dude, I'm Puerto Rican. And like, yeah, so that's why I changed it to Calavera because it's just easier.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, and the same thing happened to my sister. Like, but hers was different because she was in LA. Like, her, we have different fathers, and she, like, everyone thought that I don't know if you know much about LA, but it's very, 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 very. What's the word I'm looking for? The separated,
Yeah.
basically.
Classy.
Like
It's very
segregated.
segregated is a good word.
Yeah, I've heard
Yeah.
that. It's very
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
it's two words. It's two worlds.
yeah.
It's the English speaker and the Spanish speaker.
Hmm.
So the thing is that if you sound anywhere near, a Spanish name, you are automatically a Mexican, and
Right.
and Mexicans are not treated nicely there. Like even though
Hmm.
like you go to LA and like three-quarters of everything it's in Spanish, it's
Yep.
like norteño.
Yeah.
Um,
I
it's
was part of Mexico.
it was part of Mexico
Mm,
still not that
yeah.
long ago. So,
Exactly.
but it's amazing the difference. Like she had a lot of problems because where she was working, they always thought that she was Mexican and she would never get a promotion, like at all. Like everyone would get a promotion except her. Um, and that basically happened all the time. Like we would go like from one street to another, and like me and my friend would go to like a Colombian restaurant or Mexican restaurant, any restaurant, and like the American side that was the idea of Mexican was so wildly different from the Mexican. Like
Hmm.
it was super interesting to see. So yeah, and she basically had to change her name basically just because they won't confuse her with a Mexican, because
Hmm.
again, if we are, you have. It's not that she didn't want to be Mexican; is that she wanted to be known as Puerto Rican, which means that no one is gonna ask her for her green card
Yeah.
or like
Mm.
stuff like that. You know, um, Gabriel Iglesias has a joke that why Puerto Ricans are loud, and it's because no one's looking for us. Because everybody, because Mexicans, when they start partying, there's always someone goes like, "Slow down, slow down, slow down," because they're gonna call the cops on us. And, but we don't care. They can call the cops all day. Um, oh my god, we had a
Yeah, and that's the thing. That is,
yeah,
it's a tool used to discriminate and to
yeah,
alienate and to segregate
I
Yeah.
agree.
and to give you a perfect excuse. And it also happens to Europeans from the south, like myself.
Hmm.
When you go to the
Hmm.
north, it's like, oof, you are like from the south. Ugh.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we are the oldest nations in this continent
I
for
believe it.
reals.
Yeah, well,
600 years there was no, most of this continent they didn't exist. It was
mhm.
nothing. So what are you talking about? Um, that an Italian is not a true European? Fuck you, dude. So this is the people who invented everything. A Greek is not really an European. Really, the guy that invented the whole economic system and political system, they're not. What you high? Was nothing here 600 years ago, 700 years ago. Just goats. Everything was here. So what are you talking
Goats,
about? Yeah, that's the thing.
goats.
So study a little bit, read a
Uh,
little bit. But this,
the I
But
forgot
it's,
what I was going to say. Go ahead.
that's the thing. That's what gets me. You know, it's like, why you want to discriminate people? Who do you? That doesn't mean anything. What language you speak, or really where you're from, is just your
No.
character. How you behave. How do you, how do you work? Or how do you? That's what really defines you as a person, not other the things you have in your head, some preconceptions, and no. So
There was this this TikToker. He's a Puerto Rican TikToker. So the joke is that whenever we talk about someone that it's not Puerto Rican, we say that it's someone from the outside, because Puerto Rico is basically a bubble. You know, it's basically it's a tiny island in a giant ocean, and we don't really, you know. So we say that it's someone is from allá afuera, which literally means over there.
out there, yeah.
Yeah, and so this guy, the joke is that this Puerto Rican descendant from the Bronx comes over, and the Puerto Rican family member starts going like, "Oh, this is so and so son. He's from allá afuera." Or like, "Hey, this is like your cousin. He's from allá afuera." Or this person is from allá afuera. And the guy says like, "Dude, why are you calling me from allá afuera? I'm from Puerto Rico." And it's like, you where you were born. And he says like, the Bronx. Where do you live? The Bronx. And where is the Bronx? Allá afuera. So it's it's a little Puerto Rican joke. It's terrible. And
No, it
but I
happens
was
a lot with people from islands. It's true
Mhm.
that we tend to be more tribal than, but of course, because you were raised in in a small rock, as you say, in the middle of the ocean.
Mhm.
So, but dude, I don't know, travel a little bit,
So anywho,
That's it.
I was gonna ask more stuff about Canada. I mean Germany.
You can.
I forgot the question I was gonna ask. Like I got super excited for like a couple of like comments there. Like our whole topic today was differences and art supplies.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
differences
that's
in
okay.
I was gonna
Well, I mean,
ask,
as a Canadian, like here, I definitely get annoyed when like people from the US speak up as representing all of North America. It's like, no. And like I had a Mexican roommate for a while, and he also felt the same way. Both of us were like, no, Canada and Mexico are also American, but we don't think like people from the United States. Like
No,
we're not the same.
so is people from Belize and El Salvador and Honduras. They're technically North America. So and Panama.
Yeah, even the whole thing. We are Americans, and no, America's our continent, dude.
That's
exactly.
exactly
I
what
mean, it does sound very awkward to say, I am a United States of American.
Yeah,
it's a mouthful. In fairness, but yeah, sometimes
I don't know. You can find something. I don't know.
I just started calling them United Statesians.
United Statesians.
It's a really weird because with my friends over here, like I would say like Americans, and they were like, "Oh yes, Americans." No. Argentinian motherfucker. Like it's just easier to say United States. Like with my friends, I told them like if I say American, it's New Worlder.
Yeah, exactly. Like New World colonialist.
Yeah,
that's what I am.
If I say United Statesian, it means you. It's just easier. And I was gonna ask you like and I really have a hard time like putting this because I really haven't talked that much about watercolor in English. What's your favorite medium for to put like I don't know how to say it. Honey, like my
like
favorite.
The honey-based watercolors.
Yes, honey base. What's
honey
your favorite
Arabic?
base? No, what's your favorite base for watercolors?
I like the honeys. I like the honey ones. Yeah, they're really nice. Gum Arabic is also nice, but the honey ones have like a really specific texture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the honey ones are really nice when you have like metallics, like metal, like the glittery ones. And the honey ones are really, really nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
I
was
feel
my
that they layer a little bit better.
hmm
Like they kind
Yeah,
of just stick a bit better.
yeah. Goma Arabic. I think that it tends when you were mentioning like the earth tones and stuff like that,
Yeah,
the grainy, and ultramarine sometimes does it
the
too.
granulating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that with like the gum arabic when I do another layer over it, because I use like a lot of washes,
Yeah.
like a
You
lot
have
of
to.
wash technique. So I find that the gum arabic, when I do layers, that it'll lift. I have to be more careful that it doesn't lift the layer underneath.
hmm
Whereas honey, it sets a bit better. Yeah.
Yes. So I was just thinking. I have been thinking about that the whole time. Like earth tones
A
and
good
honey.
question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I almost never get to to talk to watercolorist. The last watercolorist I talked to was this group in Duluth here in Minnesota, and they were really weird. I don't know if you ever met these guys. They were like, "Oh, we have levels," and like this guy is an elephant, and this guy over here is a dolphin. I was like, "Yeah." Depending on how
I don't
much,
have a good laugh, but that's funny.
yeah, 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 yeah. I said exactly the same thing. I was like, "A dolphin." And he was like, yes, like depending on how much experience you have and your age and like how many years you have been working and your medium in
Oh, that's
watercolor.
some serious gatekeeping right there.
Yes, it's like absurd gatekeeping. It's like belts in martial
Does
arts.
does
Yeah,
elephant mean that you've painted like that same elephant that is in the first row of Google search when you type elephant for reference image?
I don't know. I
I
was gonna
swear,
ask.
I see the same elephant all the time in
It's the
watercolor
same.
groups. It's
It's
the
the
same
same
one.
one.
It's always
Yeah.
the same one.
I was gonna ask them, but then at the same time, I was like, I do not want to talk to these assholes.
I know.
So I was like, I'm gonna leave because
That's really funny.
oh, it's super funny. It's
That's
super
really
funny.
funny.
Like there's
And it
the
sounds like
dog and the
Furbies, you know.
yeah.
When you say that this guy's an elephant, the guy said that sounds like Furbies. These people that like dress up and all that.
hmm
Yeah,
Like,
a little bit. Yeah, furries, yeah.
okay, no, I'm a bear and I'm an elephant. Okay, dude, whatever, man.
The there's this I have some friends who are otakins. Like
Okay.
there's a furry and there's the other kins and there's the otakins. Hold on, this is really funny because the otakins are people who think that they're reincarnations of video game characters, which is hilarious. Yeah, so there's like 20 in one group. I saw one group. I had like 25 Sephiroths. I was like, how can you all be reincarnations of Sephiroth? Like,
Well, it's the exact same thing as when people say, I am the
mhm.
reincarnation of an Egyptian queen, or I am the reincarnation of a Blackfoot princess.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody's a reincarnation of a princess. Nobody is ever a reincarnation of like the cleaning lady.
Yeah, I was late.
No.
I
Nobody's ever a
Easy boy.
reincarnation of the guy who cleaned the toilets in the castle.
no,
Exactly,
no,
yeah.
never.
Of course not.
Garçon
I
de peace. Like Mel Brooks said.
so I started saying that I was the reincarnation. Have you ever played Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, ages ago.
In Mortal Kombat, there's if you do certain moves, there's a guy that appears at the bottom that says like Toasty and disappears, right? That's the sound. That's the sound engineer. Like they just put him there because when they were playing, he would yell "Toasty" every time that they would do a fire move. And so I started telling them that I was the reincarnation of that dude, of the Toasty guy. And they were like, "The guy is still alive." I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of confusing that, I'm his reincarnation while he's still there. Lives in Ohio." So,
Yeah, that's a lot of weird, crazy people out there
oh my god,
lately, man. Like
Yeah.
those people in there starting. You've seen this that in Japan, there's people like marrying video game character or something like
yeah,
that.
Yes. People always will be like, oh, haha, wacky Japan. It's like maybe you should think about not wacky Japan, but what issues there are in Japanese society that
Yeah,
would
of
lead
course.
to that becoming a viable option.
It's like what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah,
No, I love video games. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. I have my PS5 is my most precious possession,
Mhm.
but I have my wife, dude.
I want to marry the first Koopa that appears in Mario Super Mario Brothers one. The first one that comes like coming in and he always gets killed. Like I'm a widow now. I'm a widower. Sorry. Like she died
Wow.
like a bunch of times. Like no one picks like that guy or like the third
Yeah,
Koopa.
there's always all these fancy girls, really, all
Yeah.
this manga,
Yeah.
very big eyes. That's always strange to me. So why you draw people with such big eyes? And of course, this is something that
well,
my
it's
wife.
it's
There's
it's
a reason.
stylization. It's from Disney originally.
It's
Yeah,
from Disney.
It's
It's a lot of
stylized Disney. In Osama Tasaka, his work is based on Disney.
yeah. I was gonna say
Yeah,
exactly the same thing. And when you have Tezuka and it keeps growing and growing and
yeah,
growing and growing and
yeah,
changing and changing
yeah,
and changing,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is also the same reason why um they have the smiley face. Pr- if you see most of their especially in shonen, um, if you see most of the protagonists, they are very nondescript, like
yeah,
super
yeah,
nondescript. Versus the
yeah,
villains, that the villain always has like a beard or they have like these
yeah,
particular eyes or they have like this. They're very individual, and it's
yeah,
so the viewer can identify since it's
yeah. Of
shonen.
course. Yeah,
The
that's
shonen is
basically what isekai is. It's self-insert
yes.
fantasy.
Yeah, it's a self-insert type fantasy. So
It's
since
yeah,
it's shonen, it's usually boys,
yeah,
and that's why it looks like one of them.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if you see
yeah,
Ash Ketchum and like all the other ones,
yeah,
like in Digimon and like Pokemon and like the other one,
yeah.
they're all like exactly the same dude.
Yeah,
yeah,
And it's
exactly. I mean,
mhm,
it's the same as children's cartoons here. It's a different style,
mhm,
but I mean, you could argue
uh-huh,
Disney princesses tend to look very generic.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, giant
Because
eyes.
it's aimed at young girl fantasy, so it's meant to be
yeah,
self-insert
Hmm.
to
yeah.
some
And it's
extent.
something that I remember that we discussed a lot when I was studying animation. Is that a lot of the rigs they look very similar, especially when it's men. Very, very, very similar. It's the same eyes, the
A
same
lot of the what?
head. The main male characters. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see a lot of animations, and we were like
yeah,
studying, so if you
yeah,
see the eyes are very similar, and the structure
yeah,
of the head and the
yeah.
hair even. And as
Well,
you
and it's
mentioned, to make it more. But this is a marketing thing, more than
well, and
actual
it's also
animation.
you have to remember is that manga has a super fast production rate.
Hmm.
You are doing on average 10 to 15 pages a week. So when people are
Hmm.
like, why does manga look like this? It's because it's designed to be able to draw quickly,
Yeah,
to be drawn quickly.
and it
Like
has
if
the
you have 10 to 15 pages a week and 4 hours free time a week, which is what your standard manga artist in Shonen Jump has,
uh-huh.
even with assistance,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
have to be able to work super fast.
Yeah.
Like this
So
is why I tell people if you want to be a manga artist, if you want to be a legit manga artist, you have to have hardcore anatomy and perspective skills. You
hmm
don't have time to redraw a panel 10
no.
times to get the arms right.
Hmm. You have to like
yeah,
Yeah,
move
you have to
it.
do it. That's why they have all these pose reference books. Like I have some pose reference books from Japan. There are some really good ones.
Hmm.
There's some not so good ones. But like that's why they have them. It's so you can work at top speed
yeah.
and meet your deadlines.
Yeah.
Production line. Yeah, yeah. No, and it's something that,
Yeah.
for example, I just started like getting into a little bit of that on that work because this was fascinating and it's
Yeah.
crazy the amount of
Yeah.
market they have and the sales they had is
Yeah, yeah.
ridiculous.
Well,
And you
that's.
also see
Oh,
it in
sorry.
the work. Now, normally, number one, black and white, so no color,
Mm-hmm.
no need
Yeah.
for that. Number two, the environments are not like really detailed and really no. It's more like action oriented, or this is what's happening, on this
Yeah.
is so let's go. And
In
also the
shonen
amount
for
of
sure.
panel per pic
Yeah.
per page is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like 8, 10, all the pages.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, like and
That's why
like genres like. Oh, sorry.
a lot of the in manga specifically they have a lot of moments where they're like just looking at things It's not that
Mhm.
they're being introspective; it's that they're eating pages because they have to
Yeah.
have like 80 pages by the end of the
Yeah.
month.
Like, that's why too, like, if you really want to see really good detailed art, you have to go to like Josei or like let's say Josei for like adult women. Like you have to go to
Hmm.
publications usually aimed at older groups, like the men's
Hmm.
or the women's, where they're publishing once a month or every few months.
Yep.
And then you'll see really, really good detailed work like Berserk or like A Bride Story. But like they're not working weekly; they're working monthly
Hmm.
or bi-monthly, and then they have more time.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely.
Oh
The
yeah.
I used to work for Tokyo Pop, and if I told you how like publication of Tokyo Pop was amazing. There was a microwave involved. It was hilarious. Well, no, the thing is that at that
I've heard
moment,
stories.
oh no, it was hilarious. Basically, we had to get every time that we licensed something in Tokyo Pop. The thing is that they don't have files. They had negatives, and they don't give you the negative. They give you literally whenever like we had like it's really funny because I just found one of the comics at work over there, one of the tank ones, and basically what happened was that if you got any any comic like from Hyperpolis to whatever, they would literally give you the book, and that's what you got. Like you had to take,
Okay.
yeah. There was no files, there was no digital anything, there was nothing because they had a very specific like uh, a very specific production way, and where there's a lot of destruction of.
Yeah, I've heard they basically shred the pages at the end.
Yes, well, basically what happens is that they make the pages, right, and then a guy basically like saws them together, just so they know where how they're gonna be published. Yeah, then they send it to the editor. The editor basically over there has a camera, take the picture, and then they're destroyed.
Hmm.
And then from the negatives, they burn it with acid into a sheet of metal. Excuse me, and that's what they use. And like the sheet of metal is sent to different publisher printers because they don't print in one place. They print like everywhere. That's why when you see a big one of the big phone books for like Shonen Jump or whatever, it has multiple colors is because it's printed in multiple places.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the binding is a guy with a brush. Um, so what happens is when they send you the tankabon, we have to take pictures of the tankabon of each page. So
Okay.
we had an overhead camera for animation, and the problem is that you cannot just open them. You had
No,
to
of course
like
not. This is sewed together.
yes. Oh no no, these are the tankabons, so they're glued together. It's not
They're
the
glued
stone.
together. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
this is where the microwave comes with. It comes into the story. We had to grab the book, toss them in the microwave, give it 3 minutes for the for the glue to melt, and then we had to pull it out and then separate it real quick before it like cooled down. And then like my job was to clean up everything and like do the lettering and stuff like that. It was the ghettoest thing you can ever imagine. Like everyone thought, like everyone always thought that, oh, you guys are like very high tech and stuff. Like no, 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 no. And like someone was explaining me, it was really funny. Someone was explaining me why they were printed. The manga over here, they were printed um, right to left because it was like they told me like, oh, it's really hard to like switch them. I was like, no, it's not hard. And like, how do you know? Because I do it. I'm the guy who does it. And they were like, how you do it? I have an action in Photoshop. I press a button and it just does it to the whole
Flip the
thing.
page.
It's just flip the page. It's an action and it does it to everything. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and they were like, oh crap. Anyway,
That's
um,
really funny. I didn't know that.
there's a that remember I
Basically,
like 2 weeks ago I said that if I moved to Japan and I had a Xerox machine and a computer and my Mac, I could take over their publishing business. Yeah, it's because I know their like the production process. It's like I don't know if they have changed a lot because a lot of the doujinshi artists are changing the thing
Yeah,
the way they work,
yeah,
but Japan is very traditional. They're not gonna change,
yeah.
and
I
like and
know. Oh, sorry. No, keep going.
no, that was one of the
Okay.
problems that we had specifically because Tokyo Pop was a German American venture, and
Right.
doing business with them was super hard because they
Yeah.
have like this sumo um, mentality, like to do business and stuff like
Hmm.
that, and like it was pretty amazing. It was just, dude, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, you were gonna say, I'm sorry, I was like talking.
Well, I know, like, all the time, like in the group that I help run, which is like a manga artist, but like how to, like, to get better at drawing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you need to learn anatomy. It's manga,
Mhm.
but yes, you should learn anatomy. Your children.
Yes, yes.
You constantly see people being like, I'm going to move to Japan and be a manga artist. And we're like, no, you're not.
No,
And
you're not.
there's somebody in the group. She is one of the German artists who were published, I think, through Tokyo Pop. She's one of the good ones.
Hmm.
It's sort of the first wave of Germans who got
Yeah,
published officially as sort of manga artists.
yeah.
Which, like, I don't use that term for myself. Like, I wouldn't consider myself a manga artist. I don't like
Hmm.
very manga influenced style, but like I'm not Japanese. Technically, I'd be doujin because I self-publish.
Yeah.
Actually, I actually do know the difference. I wouldn't
Hmm.
consider myself like a mangaka. I find that very pretentious.
No.
She actually tried to show her portfolio to one of the editors at Shonen Jump, and they were like, no.
No.
They would
No.
not even look at it. And she tells
No.
people that all the time. She's like, they're not interested. Why would they be interested in a foreigner who doesn't understand the culture, doesn't know the language, doesn't know what's expected of them when they receive hundreds of thousands of publications or like manuscripts from Japanese artists?
Yep.
Like, why would they put themselves through that effort and spend the time in such a high pressure industry to try to hold your hand
Hmm.
when they're receiving how many applications per day?
Totally.
Like, why
Yeah,
would they do that?
yeah. That's exactly how it is. What's the name of it? I think you become a mangaka the day someone in Japan pays you. Like
Yeah.
that's the only time.
There's not very many artists who've done that. There's, I think, one Swedish woman who actually did it.
Mm,
I know an American. She was married to a Japanese man, had a daughter, and she recently moved back to the States.
yeah.
She was a doujin artist in Japan, and she managed. I think I backed her Kickstarter, so she got one tankobon out. But like, and she
The
speaks super fluent Japanese. Like when she
mm,
is on the phone, people think that like, oh, her husband must be the foreigner because her Japanese is so good.
mhm,
And even
mhm,
she's not getting picked up
yeah.
by
The
a magazine. And there's so many magazines. It's just incredibly
yeah,
difficult
yeah.
for foreigners.
And there's well, the main thing about them, what's the name of it? I was gonna say like it's so funny because you talk to I have a couple of friends who work as comic artists over there, especially with like universities and stuff like that, or Sangha. Um, and it's really funny because they're so positive on everything. Like they always say like, oh, everyone's a mangaka as long as they draw the comic. I was like, okay, okay, like sure. That was the comment. They're so nice on that thing. It's not real. It's not that way.
Yeah. I once had somebody try to criticize me that I couldn't be considered that what I'm doing is manga, which again, I've never called myself really a manga artist. Like I use
No,
the hashtag on Instagram. I'm obliged.
you
But
should.
like,
You
yeah,
should
I
use it
do.
on
It's a
Instagram.
popular hashtag. We all use
Yeah.
hashtags. But they told me that you could not consider yourself a manga artist unless you had purified yourself of all Western influences.
Who
And
was
I'm
telling you
like,
that, Prince? Like,
no,
go purify
somebody in
yourself.
a group some teenager who
Do
thought
you ever
himself an authority. And I'm like,
watch Purple Rain when
no, I
Princess
haven't.
he says to Princess to Apollonia, oh, to become part of the Minneapolis music scene, you have to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Like, and she jumps in the lake, and she comes out like,
Well,
am I purified? It's like, no, that's not Lake Minnetonka. Like,
Well, it's just like purify yourself of all purify yourself of all Western influences. Like, A, come on, and
Dude.
B, you do know that manga is like the style of manga traces itself back to like Disney,
Yeah.
right?
Well, Akira was made to look like an American comic. Like that
Yeah.
was the main idea of Akira. And
Well, and the
Akira
thing
is the
is, there's
monster.
always been back and forth. Like
Yeah.
shoujo, the look of
Yeah.
shoujo is actually based on an Italian boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like people who say that there's so many people out there who have this idea of this Japanese exceptionalism and this purity of Japanese culture. Japan has always had cultural exchange with other countries, always.
Yes, completely.
Just like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
They feed each other.
Nobody. We'll go back to what we are talking about before. Nobody's special or unique or exceptional.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
No one is an island unless you're an actual island. But
yes, there is a few language isolates here and there, but they are rare. They're very rare.
Mm-hmm.
True. Mainstream, the majority, no, for sure not. Well, guys, I don't know if you want to wrap it up.
We should wrap it up because we have been yapping for like 2 hours about.
Yeah, I should get ready. I have work again tomorrow. Do you want to see what I did?
Yes.
Yes.
My process once again remains hidden. I need to get the camera. It's on my list.
Yes.
There we are.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, there you go. I remember when this was just pencils. Toss.
You see, I tried to get it close to the camera so you can see more, and that doesn't work that way. let me. Whoa.
It's not gonna work. Dude. I like it.
Now I need to scan it and add screen tone.
The guys are similar to the which is this? I'm thinking of Jim Henson.
Oh, that's a compliment.
Yeah, because you know the ears.
Oh,
yeah,
Dark Crystal.
Yeah,
they're giant. They're giant mutant post-apocalypse wolves.
It's like that's but the one no trolls or stuff like that. It's just like a characters he created, right? Because they're not elves.
This needs a little bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the rough sketch, so I need to like.
They're cool.
Resize it a little bit, and then I got this one.
We need to get you a camera, Sonia, please.
Yeah, I do.
Cool. Okay, sketches.
Yeah.
Love that.
I will use them to try out this lovely new mixed media book from Paper Blanks.
Mm-hmm.
They sponsor us.
They sponsored me. You can see on their EndNotes blog. I am there.
Yay!
With my sketchbook full of mages and centaurs. Yes.
Nice.
We're gonna call that a win for fantasy artists everywhere.
That's cool. Hey, it's a whole genre, you know. It's a whole genre right there. The friend of mine who's also like doing only now is embarking in a I cannot say it because it's one of those things that are not there yet. But it's also a friend of yours, sir. We talk about him, and he showed me what he's working on. It's all fantasy. It's like crazy. It's really good, but I was never into that world really fantasy because it has too many elements that are. Because it's always a dragon, or it's always a stone, or so. Okay, I understand it, or mythological creature. But no, it's pretty cool, especially from a aesthetic point of view. It's very attractive world because you can go around wild, because you can create races and you can create mythological elements or all the animals, or do variation of those, or create your own. So yes.
Okay.
So guys, So
might have to rework his body again.
let's think of on the topic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the also like I did with the Spanish one. I'm gonna put it in the group. Remember?
Yeah, send me a thing so we can prepare for TikTok, and like I actually wrote down when to like upload everything and like promote.
Okay.
Okay.
Popular
Yeah, I
Spirit
also need to do that. I'm also in a Kickstarter that's coming up soon, so I need to promote that too.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Bring
I
it,
would love
bring
to
it, bring
Another
it.
one.
If you want
It
to bring
failed.
some of
It
the
failed
creators,
last summer. We're trying again.
cool. So you want to bring some of the creators to the thing? Bring them.
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
would be
Yeah,
great.
for sure. I'll drop them a
Anybody's
line. I'll
invited.
drop Kyle a line. I have
Yeah.
2 stories in it. One that I picked up when the artist dropped out, and the other one is my story with art. Dinosaurs. Yes.
Okay.
What is the theme of the anthology?
It's the Fletcher Cross anthology. It's about an engineer who develops a chair that he can use to hop through different dimensions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's like the same character, but in different scenarios as he hops through, and there's sort of an overall plot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds perfect.
Cool.
I picked
Interesting.
up the art on a Mad Max inspired story. And then my story is he falls into like a Hollow Earth sort of scenario where there's people riding dinosaurs. And
Oh, Dinotopia.
yeah, a little bit. And there's like an evil race of snake people. That's fun. It's
I like
very,
it.
it's a very like Pulp Fiction inspired anthology.
Love it.
Last year we
Wow.
almost made it. This year we're hopefully gonna get it.
Sure.
Awesome.
So I need to start
Dinosaurs are
promoting
always good. Dinosaurs are always good. More dinosaurs, please.
Mm,
that. Yes, I will try to send you the link. I might not tonight because I'm pretty tired. Need to get ready for bed here, but I'll
Never.
write down to send you guys the link.
I'll send you for the cameras too. Okay.
yes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Well, guys, have a nice week. Enjoy.
You too.
Take care.
Talk to you later, sir.
Thanks to the viewers we had today.
Yeah,
Send us a
viewers.
comment so we can
Yes.
interact. That would be nice too. See who you are. You
I'll
just-
write down questions for Germany.
Okay. Okay.
Or for
And let's keep
Canada.
on the topic.
Or for Canada, either. Anyway.
Yeah, either
Okay.
or.
Still about
That's
the topic.
usually what I do. I also get a lot of Miss Kinsey. I hear that in the USA, followed by some sort of question, and I'm like, yes or no. I get that a lot. Frau
Frau Kinsey.
Kinsey, ich habe gehört, dass in die USA, blah blah blah.
Tell them yes.
It's
Ja.
Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
Guten
Guys, see you next
Abend.
week.
We're out.
Bonsoir.
Take care. We're out.